I have very seldom been truly hungry and thirsty. It did happen once, right after a hurricane, where I went as a team of people trying to look after people who've been blown out of their homes and their lives and everything else, and we didn't have adequate supplies at the time, and I was thirsty. I didn't know whether the water was safe to drink, and it didn't last too long, quite honestly, but I was thirsty. And I know what it felt like when I actually got to get a bottle of cold water and glug it down. Oh, it was so special. So I got to think, there's that scripture, Matthew 5 and verse 6, I think it is. Blessed are those that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they will be filled. Not possibly, but will be. And so, this is not me, sermonizing, but I just wanted to share life with you each day over a cup of tea. And the life that I wanted to share with you is that there's been some thirst going on during this time in this space where I am now. I haven't been thirsty, but my plants have. My daughter Tessa comes and visits me once a week, and she has not been visiting because I didn't want to infect her and she didn't want to infect me. So we love each other enough to stay apart, and that's the way it is. Now, what my daughter does when she comes in through the door, apart from spot any little stray piece of dust that I might have around, she's wonderful, is she waters the plants. And it's her thing. She goes around and she waters the plants. She waters them once a week, and that's enough because you don't want to drown them. And so in the first week when she didn't turn up, guess what happened to my plants? They start to go down. Now, I have one particular plant which I'm really keen on. It's a peace lily. One of those white things that stick up there. And both of those peace lilies, under my careful oversight, kind of went brown. And they should be white and they shouldn't be brown and edged. So I snipped them off and began to water my lilies. And I am pleased to be able to share with you, hello, look at this. See, it's right by my nose. It's a peace lily which is unfolding. And look at those leaves all the way round. They were bent over. They were literally bowed down. It was awful. So there is another little peace lily in the middle of all of that, which is struggling to be able to make its way. And I am pleased about that now. I've got to be careful that I don't overwater them. Oh, and I have to shoot this is an iPad, and so forgive me if I just move you across for a moment. This is my other plant. And right up here, these have literally grown into this during this period of time when we're being locked in. So I'm not sure whether my roof is going to be too tight for them in the end. But I hope so. I'm giving them a weekly water, and once every other day, just a little drizzle in here. And I've got some tomato plants, which my friend John has delivered to me, and they're going to be planted out soon. And in the meantime, they are in my window, and they're sort of, I'm watering at the bottom, and they're leaning towards the light each day. And he said, be sure to turn them around so that they get to lean the other way, if that makes sense. So I am interested in these plants of mine. They're a natural form of life. And so am I. And I am aware of the fact that my habitual consumption of water is not that great. I have a cup of tea in the morning, and I would do a quiet time and journal time. I have a cup of coffee at 11. I have a glass of water, about 8 ounces, with my lunch. I have a cup of tea in the afternoon with you, a tea at 3. And then I have more water, usually at nighttime, with my supper. And that's about it. So it's about 6 by 8 ounce glasses, and that's really not enough. I think that we can get dehydrated quite quickly, especially if we have got our mind on something else and that we're not paying attention to something as simple as water. Let's be real about this one. When you get at a certain age, if you don't have enough water, then you can be constipated. I love the story, which is credited to Ringo Starr, who was being interviewed for the British Army, a medical thing. And the medical officer said to him, "Are you constipated?" He said, "No, sir, I'm Church of England." It was just a fun thing. But anyway, it is a possibility. Enough water is actually necessary to keep the whole system flushed through properly. And dehydration can be something where we feel weak and aching and losing a degree of consciousness as well. It can be a really tricky business. A dear friend of mine, he lives within this community, had to go into hospital the other day for the day because, as it turned out, he was lacking in fluid. He was literally hydrated. Now, you and I do not need to go out of our special space into a hospital which has all kinds of potential threats to it nowadays, doesn't it? Just by drinking a couple of extra glasses of water a day, 8 by 8 ounces is regarded to be minimal. The right amount would be that. So you may even like to keep a piece of paper and a pencil. I know it sounds obsessive, but just to get into a habit of getting enough fluid. And then the leaves of our lives don't have to droop, and the peace lily of our life doesn't have to go brown. And we can be blessed. The big thing, however, is what on earth is righteousness? I'm going to suggest something to you which is a little odd. It's like riding a bike. You know, to begin with, you need training wheels on the side of the bicycle. And you get a kind of a sense of, hey, I can do this. You're wearing a helmet and Dad's, hovering over you at the same time. Then he unclips the wheels and holds onto you and lets you go. And there's this automatic balance that takes place. And you think, and I can do this. That's what I think of as righteousness. I don't need training wheels. I don't need people to give me a whole bunch of rules and regulations. There is a way that I operate my life that is natural. It's natural. And it's a way that God, who's standing back at the moment, who's pushed us off into life, loves to see that balance taking place. Until tomorrow, God bless you.